friends, welcome to week 4 of quarantine yoga videos as shared by me for you to help keep you moving, keep you healthy, and keep you well during these times. I'm so sad that I'm still not able to practice with you in person, but as I said, I'm committing to keeping these practices coming so that you can follow from home and we can still be connected in a sense, even if it is virtual. Today, what I have in store is a power practice. So all of my old Brentford Fitness Center peeps that were with me for Monday Night Power for 6 years, I'm excited to be offering this. But the main reason why I wanted to offer a power practice today is it helps us kind of focus around our navel chakra, which is one I haven't spoken to yet in any of the videos that I've shared. But also at this point in the isolation matters, I can speak for myself and say, I sometimes feel a little run down, a little weak, a little lethargic, and like I have lost some of my power and my strength. And so I really want to hone in on this, focus on this chakra, get myself moving, building some heat and some confidence, and get back to that feeling of being strong and powerful. And then I encourage you to kind of think about these same things for yourself. So as we proceed into our practice, just think about harnessing thoughts of strength and of power. Our navel chakra is obviously located where our navel is, but it is our power center and it really helps fuel the entire body. It is associated often with the element of fire, so we will be building some heat, as I've alluded to with this power practice. So I do want you to know that as we get moving, if at any point you feel you need a break, please feel free to take that break. Have your water available and know that this practice is for you. At any point, if you want to come to a child's pose and rejoin me later, that is more than okay. As we proceed, I will also say that to help focus on this navel area, we will be completing quite a few twists. So if we have any limitations in our spine, we just want to be mindful of this before we get going. So if you know that twisting maybe isn't the best idea for you, be prepared to come up with some modifications along the way. I do apologize that I'm not there to help you in person, but you're still more than welcome to follow along and complete what feels good in your body, focusing on that breath, and we'll use that breath to help send that warmth or heat throughout the body to again build this sense of strength and of power, okay? As with the other videos I have been sharing, I am going to start by sitting on a yoga block. If you have one available, that is great. If not, you're more than welcome to sit flat to the floor, no problem. Or maybe you have a book or something that's along the same size as the block that can hold your weight. Help yourself to that. I will also recommend strongly that before we get going, we do wash our hands. I will start with my hand sanitizer, even though I'm pretty sure I've already scratched my face. For safety, since it's better to be safe than sorry, I'm still going to make sure that I'm putting that hand sanitizer on, rubbing that in so that I'm nice and clean before I get going. As with anything else we've done, we're changing postures and positions, and just in case those hands come close to your face, it's always better to have those hands clean before we get going. So if you need to pause now, grab yourself a yoga block, wash those hands, whatever it may be, go ahead and do that. When you're ready, come on back and press play, and we'll get into our nice power practice this afternoon. With me, as I said, we're focused on that navel area and building our fire center. So let's start by taking a deep breath in, sweeping those hands up. We'll connect the palms overhead, and as we exhale, we slowly lower those hands down, passing the chest and seeing if we can rest the insides of our hands right into our navel. We want to round our shoulders down and back, maybe press the chest a little more forward so that we can really feel that navel pressing against that inner part of our hands. I'm bowing my chin to my chest as I close my eyes and taking a few deep breaths here. I want to inhale through my nose. Exhale, let that breath go also through my nose. But I maybe want to think about some Pilates-like practices with my breath. So particularly with that exhale, I want to start to build some tightness or some heat throughout my core. So my inhale again comes in through my nose. As I exhale, let's think about pressing our belly buttons in towards our hands, but pressing our hands back in towards the belly button. As we do this, we're tensing the abdominal wall, or again, starting to create that warmth or that sense of strength. Repeating when ready with another deep inhale. Exhale, press that belly button into the hands, press the hands into the belly button. Maybe feel the rib cage start to restrict or squeeze together to almost corset that abdominal area. Repeating with another inhale. Exhale, find that fire through that navel area. We'll take one more deep breath here to again set our nice strong power or fire center. Maybe opening those eyes, taking the next inhale to release and sweep those arms once again up overhead. Instead of touching, we'll keep them about a foot apart and just start breathing into some mild twists. And exhale, we'll draw one hand to the back of the mat. We will look towards it as the other hand comes towards the thigh. Inhale, we'll return, hands overhead. Exhale, find that mild twist. Repeating for a few breaths here, again with that idea of starting to find movement, starting to find heat, strength, and power through the body. Inhale and exhale. Perhaps we close those eyes, starting to let that twist find its way into our body without our necessarily looking right towards it. Trusting our bodies to find that movement. Maybe drawing our awareness back to that navel area. If we can, maybe we start to think about a shining light in that navel area. As I said, this chakra is associated with the element of fire. It's also associated with the color yellow. So maybe we're thinking about a nice glowing yellow fire, starting to burn nice and brightly. As we inhale, we lift those arms up. As we exhale, we twist. Maybe we think about that fire growing just a little bigger, maybe visualizing it getting just a little brighter. We'll find a few more twists here, a few more breaths. Slowly stoking that fire so it's getting slightly bigger with each new movement. Once we feel evened out from side to side, we'll set those arms overhead and exhale. Palms come towards the top of our mat. Our seats come clear of our block. We'll use a foot to shift it off to the side. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Inhale, drops the belly towards the ground. We're lifting that chest nice and tall. Exhale, we want to scoop or tuck to our cat. Repeating with an inhale, that finds our nice back bend. Helping to warm or find that heat through our spine and through our front line. Inhale really pulls that belly long. Exhale, tucks and find some length through the backside. We want to repeat, maybe speeding up to find that rhythm or find that movement that's going to help us create heat. When we find our next inhale, let's use it to flatten or neutralize the spine. Replace our palms with our forearms and lengthen our legs towards the back of our mat. Our hips and our thighs are down towards the mat. We are setting elbows directly under our shoulders and palms flat to the mat. Taking an inhale to lift those chests nice and tall. Maybe bending into one knee, turning to look towards those feet. Switching to the other side. Starting to find some mobility or warmth in the neck as we're switching this head in either direction. But also focusing on where that belly is touching down towards the ground. See if you can find that navel and press it down towards your mat so your awareness stays there. We're also starting to open the chest in front of the shoulders. And once we feel evened out from side to side, we will kick both legs long. Swim hands to the front of the room, sweep them to the side, and then reposition so that our fingertips are now under our shoulders. Give a nice tap to our toes, a slight lift to our hips. We'll push our weight up and push our weight back. Our bellies are now rested on our thighs in a child's pose. Let's take a moment to breathe our awareness back to that navel. Maybe focus on that idea of a glowing fire, providing warmth to the lap. And with our next in-breath, up we come, stacking shoulders over wrists. We'll sweep our feet in the same direction so hips can come behind us, legs will reach out front. Bending strong into the knees, let's secure our heels strong to the floor and point our toes on up. We'll sweep arms overhead and flip those palms towards the front of the room. As we inhale, we grow just a little taller, thinking about a long and neutral spine. As we exhale, we want to lower to about halfway, warming up those abdominals. So hugging that belly button in towards the spine, yet pressing it out at the same time to find that strength and find that warmth. Inhale, we'll lift. Exhale, lower halfway. And take a few breaths here, maybe closing those eyes, finding and trusting the movement in the body as we start to build that heat. On our next exhale, let's see if we can hold at our halfway point and maybe float one leg followed by the other. From here, we're locking our hands together and stretching our elbows out nice and strong towards the sides of the room. Still hugging that navel in nice and tight, maintaining a neutral spine. We want to see if we can drop one knee down and then twist towards that side. Inhale, we'll come back to center. Drop the opposite foot and knee down, twist to that side. So your inhale resets, your exhale finds strength. Maybe again thinking about inhales to move, exhales to blow that fire a little brighter. Inhale, exhale, find some warmth. Repeat for a few rounds just like this. If at any point this becomes too difficult for the abdominals or for your spine, we are more than welcome to come nice flat foot. Inhale, exhale, twist. We find what's best serving for us. We explore our next few breaths there. Again, thinking about the sensation of building heat. Once we feel evened out, we'll come to center, dropping heels towards the floor. Let's grow a little taller. This time as we exhale, we are setting each section of our spine nice and flat to the floor. Our arms will come nice and long in a T-like shape. We are now floating those knees directly over the hips. We're squeezing inner thighs together and taking a few breaths here to let those knees fall towards the ground. We pause 1 inch before they set towards the floor, challenging that counter-rotational strength to send those knees back to center. We will then breathe into the other side. Inhale, come back to center, starting to build that strength, warming that fire, focusing on that navel area to give us a sense of power. We'll take a few more deep breaths, rotating from side to side. We can continue to practice these twists in this dynamic fashion exactly as is, or we're looking to advance ever so slightly. Maybe we start to lengthen through one leg and let that foot float its way to that inch above the ground before we reset to center, calling on that counter-rotational strength, lengthening through the other side, and seeing if we can find the strength and the power to continue just like this. If we're really looking to build that heat, we're more than welcome to speed the pacing up. But as long as we're breathing, we're more than welcome to move as slowly or as quickly as feels good in the body. After a few movements like this, if it feels good, we continue as is. If we feel we need to ease off, we can come back to both bent knees. Or if we're looking for even more of a challenge, we can start to lengthen both legs and allow them to fall together towards one side, coming back to center, and seeing if those legs can fall towards the other side. Catch them before they hit the ground, and breathing into those obliques, the navel area, our counter-rotational strength. Breathe your way through whatever variation is best serving for you for a few more rounds. Once we are evened out from side to side, we can welcome those legs back to center. Tuck our hands to the backs of the thighs, bending into those knees. Our weight will shift behind us and then forward like a rocking horse to bring us back to a seated position. From here, my heels are again strong to the floor. The toes are up towards the ceiling. I'm sliding my shoulders away from my ears and lengthening to nice straight arms. The idea again is I'm hugging my navel nice and tight in, but pressing it out at the same time to channel strength and warmth through my abdominals. My spine is still neutral. My shoulders are away from my ears, and maybe I am once again floating those knees up, this time with my arms framing either side. With an inhale, I can slowly lower towards the ground. Before I arrive, I find the abdominal strength to pull myself back upwards. Again, an inhale, I will lower to a hover, and then come on up. Take a few breaths to repeat. And after developing that nice warmth and strength through the core, we can come on up, hug around those knees, and see if we can sweep those feet to the back of our mat. Here, we're once again setting those wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll take one set of fingers nice and long to the side of the room. Exhale to find your twist. Inhale to open and reach. Exhale, find your twist. Repeat for a few rounds of your breath, really thinking about that navel area. Channel a sense of warmth, channel a sense of heat. Start to build that fire. Next time we're reaching our fingers out to the side of the room, we will keep them there and then return the palms straight ahead. Opposite fingers reach, inhale, exhale, find that twist. Repeat for a few rounds here, moving as quickly as feels good. To again, remind yourself you want to get moving and you want to think about building that heat. Next time we inhale, fingers will reach long and we will reset. Wrists directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. Taking the time to tuck into both sets of toes, we want to start by just floating those knees up above the mat. Breathe into the strength of that core. So really pull your navel in towards the spine, yet press it forward, corset those ribs, and find that strength through your abdominal wall. Thinking about stoking that fire, let's find a little extra warmth with our next exhale, sending hips nice and tall. Inhale, knees will hover just above the mat, press into those palms, find that strength in the navel, corset the ribs, breathe into that warmth and allow those hips to lift. A few more breaths just like this. Maybe this time, as we're hovering those knees above the mat, see if we can pull our chest forward into a floating version of our tower back bend. Exhale, we'll float our cat. Again, thinking about that warmth and strength, we return to neutral spine. Send those hips up, downward dog. Repeat by floating those knees. Inhale, pull that chest forward. Exhale, tuck to center. Inhale, neutral spine, and send those hips down. If at any point we need to take a break and tap those knees right down towards the mat, we are more than welcome to do so. But find what's working best for you and building that fire, and breathe your way through what's best serving for your practice. We'll repeat for one more round. And as those hips lift nice and tall, we'll maybe start to lift through the heels. Bending into our knees, we'll take a look to the top of our mat, a hop, walk, or a step. We'll come towards the front of the room. Attaching our hands to our shins, let's slide up into a flat back or halfway lift. What we want to think about doing here is sending our hips behind us and the top of our head forward. The idea is we want a nice long and strong spine. And from here, in exhale, we'll round those hands down the back so the calves will be softened into a slightly deeper fold. Repeating when we're ready, we inhale, flat back or halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Let's think about flowing or moving through these two postures to build that heat, that warmth, that fire, that strength, and that power. The next time we inhale to our flat back, let's see if we can pause. Reaching one arm behind us, we want to press that arm against our inner thigh, allowing our other set of fingers to reach on up towards the ceiling. To really think about creating that strength through that twist, You want to press as much into that inner thigh, yet resist the inner thigh to the arm as much as you can to create resistance, create strength, and find a nice development of heat in that core or navel area. From here, we can bring the opposite arm down, attach it to the opposite inner thigh, breathe into our twist in the other direction. We find some movement, we find some heat, we start to transition side to side. And once we are evened out each direction, we'll settle down towards a forward fold and allow our next inhale to slowly round us up inch by inch. Shoulders, necks, and heads will arrive. We'll sweep arms overhead, connect those palms together, and breathe them in towards the heart. Here we start to zip our inner thighs together. The knuckles of the toes become next door neighbors. We think about squeezing and activating warmth all up the midline of the body, which is our center point. So squeeze, zip, find warmth. Like a hot glue gun, we're gluing those thighs together. As we inhale, we reach towards the ceiling. Hands are again about that foot apart. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Continuing to hot glue gun those thighs together, let's sink our seats towards the mat. Coming through to our Utkatasana, or I like to call it yoga squat pose. Building heat. We will hold for a deep breath here, thinking about keeping that core active. So hug your navel in, press it out, find that heat in the abdominal wall. Hands will sweep behind us, and inhale to lift nice and tall. Exhale, we think about hot glue gunning those thighs together, squeeze, 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 even those glutes, and down we sit. Maybe sweep those arms behind us, inhale, lift. A few rounds just like this, sit. Stay strong through the lower limbs as we sweep arms behind us. Up we rise, repeating for a few rounds just like this. We can continue to practice exactly as is, or perhaps as we lift now, let's challenge the balance and come up with one knee. Coming back down, other side might lift, and we want to repeat side to side. To stay centered and grounded through our balanced postures, it does help to remind yourself to squeeze that navel in towards the spine. Stay nice and strong through the core to keep you nice and centered and balanced through the movements. Start to build a little more. The next time we're floating one leg up, let's take a moment to pause. See if we can start bending into our standing leg, and this time front foot will sweep all the way towards the back of our mat. Here we're driving our weight through our back heel. Think about lengthening through that back hip flexor, keeping our front knee bent and stacked over our front ankle. Let's see if we can take our opposite elbow to the outside of our thigh, press into those palms, and then challenge our balance by looking up and over our top shoulder. Unwinding, we will frame our front foot, bring those palms nice and strong to the ground, and step our foot back to a strong plank-like position. As we press into those palms and keep those shoulders protracted, we want to think about hugging that navel in nice and tight, find that strength, and find that warmth through your abdominal wall. Take an extra breath to enjoy that heat and strength. Before inching your weight forward, slowly bending into the elbows, welcoming your chest towards the mat. Press the ground away in whatever back bend is feeling best at this point in your practice. Maybe tucking into those toes, we'll breathe those hips nice and tall. Inhale, lifting through the heels, bend into your knees, hop walk or step to the top of your mat, coming to that flat back or halfway lift. Exhale, we will soften forward fold, sweep those arms all the way overhead, connect hands together, connect hands to heart. free zipping thighs together. We again think about coming up with those arms, one foot apart with those hands, sink those seats, and lift into the opposite leg. From here, we'll start to bend into our standing side. Foot comes behind us. This is the same leg for me, so why not? Let's do this again. Unwinding, I will frame my foot, step my way back to my plank, inch forward, bend into my elbows, lift through my chest. Tucking into my toes, my hips will come nice and tall, lift through my heels, bend into my knees, come on up to the top of my mat, slide, halfway lift, soften, forward fold. Sweep those arms up, connect hands, connect thighs, come on in. Inhale, exhale, sink. Find my balance on actually the other side. Bend and sweep behind me, seeing if I can find my twist on the other side. And this time I'm going to hold just for an extra few breaths because this is what we did on side one, and now that I finally have found side two, I'm going to find that symmetry in the body. But after we practice this side, we will be flowing one side to the other for a few dynamic versions of this posture. So dynamic means moving to, again, think about building that heat. Unwinding, framing that front foot, stepping back to our plank, inch forward, bend into those elbows, lift through the chest. Tuck your toes and see if you can flow your way right back up. Lift those heels, bend your knees, come on up towards the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Wide sweep those arms, hands together, feet together, hands to heart. Hands overhead, sink. I will practice the same side again, just so that we get together to again find that symmetry in the body. From here, we will start to move or alternate side to side. Inhale, hands up, sink. Think about which side we are on. Come on up, send it back. I did the same side again. Hopefully you're keeping track a little better than I am, but we'll find a few more rounds here. Hopefully each direction. Halfway lift, forward fold, sweep, and as we connect those hands together, maybe we zip those thighs together. Coming on up, sinking on down, really taking a moment to think about what side we're supposed to be on. This one, this one steps back. Find that twist. Unwind, frame the foot, step on back. Lift the hips, lift the heels, hop walker step, top of the mat. Slide to flat back. Soften forward fold. Sweep, hands up, thighs in. Repeat. As you're flowing through these movements, really focus on your breath. Allow it to travel the heat that we're building in that navel area throughout the rest of the body. Think about being warm. Think about being strong. Join me in practicing one more round on each side. As I lift through my heels, bend into my knees, and work my way back towards the top of my mat. My inhale will set to my flat back. I'll take a moment to breathe, hold, and practice here. Focus again on that navel area. Hug it in towards your spine, yet press it out to core center, tighten those ribs, strengthen, and set that abdominal wall nice and powerful. Exhale, we'll soften into a slightly deeper fold before those arms will sweep overhead. Hands connect together, hands will tuck to heart. Once again, we think about tucking or hugging or glue gunning those inner thighs together, creating heat and strength to the midline of our body. And inhale, we'll sweep those arms overhead. This time, as we sink into our Utkatasana or yoga squat, we are bringing our twist into play. So the elbow comes to the outside of the thigh, and we're maybe pressing against those palms to set them a little more with our chest, challenging our balance by looking up towards our top shoulder. Let's check in with our knees and make sure one's not peaking a little more forward than the other. We do want to keep those knees, those inner thighs, and those big toes hot glue gun together, creating that heat and harnessing that warmth. We can unwind, allow those hands to frame the foot. Maybe we press those hips up as the heads come down. Take a breath in our fold. Still hugging inner thighs, nice and strong in towards each other. We come to a flat back. We soften and we sweep. Hands come up overhead. We maybe start to sink into our twist on the other side. Checking in again with those knees. We want to keep them hugging in strong and warm together. Press into those palms, allow the thumbs to come in alignment with the center of our chest. Challenge our balance by looking up and over our top shoulder. Unwinding, hands come towards the ground. We press those hips up and sink those heads down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, and prepare to flow or find that dynamic nature between side to side. So twist, unwind, fold. Halfway lift, soften, arms sweep up, twist side two. Unwind and fold, halfway lift, soften, sweep, and twist. Unwind, lift, halfway, forward fold, arms come up, twist side two. Come on back to center, send those hips up. Slide into your flat back, soften, and this time as we bring those hands overhead, let's connect them in towards the heart, shrug those shoulders away from the ears, and think about adding on to that little flow or nut scar that we just created. So the movements that we are about to flow through will follow the same inhale to come on up. As we exhale, we sink into center. We inhale to stay. We then find a twist, side one. Unwind, find our twist, side two. Center, allow those palms to come flat to the ground so that we can step one foot and then the other back to the back of our mat. Inch our weight forward, bend into those elbows and push our chest through to our back bend of choice. Seeing if we can send those hips up nice and tall, downward facing dogs. Lift through the heels, bend into the knees, hop, walk, or step to the front of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. As those arms come on up, we hug those thighs on in, sink back down. Beginning here, we will find our twist side one. Unwind, twist side two. Unwind, palms to the mat, feet to the back. Inch forward, bend and lift. Hips will come nice and tall, heels will lift, we bend, we come on back up, halfway lift. Forward fold. As those arms come up, thighs and toes hug in, let's sink on down. Twist side one. Unwind. Twist side two. Unwind. Frame those feet and step back to your plank. Inch forward, bend and lift the chest. Hips will come nice and tall, and eventually we again find the front of our mat. Flat spine, forward fold, big sweep, hug or glue gun those thighs back in. Come on to your Utkatasana or yoga squat. Twist, side one. Unwind, twist, side two. Unwind, frame those feet and find your plank. Inch forward, bend those elbows, lift the chest, lift the hips. Find your way to the top of your mat, and one more time we will repeat. As those arms come up, thighs come in, let's sink our way to our yoga squat. Twist side one, unwind, twist side two, unwind, hands frame those feet, we step our way back. Inch forward, bend into those elbows, lift into the chest. Tuck into those toes, spike those hips nice and tall. Lift the heels, bend the knees. Find the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Once again, sweeping arms overhead, hot glue gunning those thighs together. Let's tuck those hands towards the heart and shrug those shoulders down away from the ears. Setting into a deep breath here. Once again, focusing on that navel. Hug it in, press it out, corset the ribs. Find that tension or strength, as I want you to think about it. Strength through the abdominal wall. Let's breathe into it for another inhale, another exhale. And when we're ready, arms sweep on up with an in-breath. Exhale, we will twist into our first direction with those bent knees, Utkatasana. If it's available from here, we want to lift our outside legs. So see how my heel is now up off the mat. From here, I want to see if I can shift my weight into my base foot, or the one that is fully planted to the mat, and maybe walk, step, or float my back foot all the way to the back of my mat, driving my weight into my heel, pressing more into my palms to try to twist and look up over my top shoulder. If I'm starting to get a little more depth to my twist, I do have the option to drop one hand towards the floor, opposite hand up towards the ceiling. From here, palms will reconnect. Unwind to find center. Hands frame that front foot. We slide or step back, inching forward, pushing chest towards the mat. Lift to the back bend of choice. Tucking into toes, lifting into hips. Lifting heels, bending knees. Coming on up to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. As we sweep arms overhead, we glue gun those thighs back together. Sink into our twist, side two. And again, I'm trying to set my thumbs up at the center of my chest, and I'm trying to look up and over my top shoulder. If it's available, my outside heel will pop up, challenging my balance and strength on my planted foot. I'll start to inch, walk, or maybe just float my foot towards the back of my mat as I drag my weight into that back heel. If it's available in the depth of my twist, one palm comes towards the ground, one set of fingers reaches up towards the ceiling. Breathing into the strength of my twist, challenging my balance by looking up towards my fingers. Palms will return. We'll unwind, frame that front foot, step our weight to the back of our mat. Inching forward, bending into my elbows. I'll push my chest nice and tall. This time, I'm making sure my thighs are connected to my mat, so I can just roll my weight behind me, hips stacking directly over my knees. I'll walk my palms a little closer to my body so my wrists are in alignment with my shoulders. And as I return to this flat back or tabletop position, let's take a breath to again set the strength of that core. So hug your navel in, yet press it out at the same time. Take another breath to stay here. From here, I want to reach one hand forward, keeping my chin tucked in towards my chest. My inhale will reach me a little more forward. And as I exhale, I want to send those fingers between my arm and my body and see if I can press my hips back to a twisted version of my child's pose. So the side of my head is tapping down, my shoulder is starting to stretch, finding some movement through my neck. Inhale, I want to come back up, plant that palm and try the other side. Exhale, find that twist, side of the head towards the ground. I'm looking towards my fingers that are reaching out towards the side of the room. And inhale, come up. I'll take a few breaths here to find a sway through the movements or that dynamic nature movement, creating heat, creating warmth, flowing it through the body, creating that sense of power, that sense of strength. This is also cleverly designed to give those thighs just a little bit of a break from all of our utkatasans with our twists. And maybe after one more twist in each direction, we'll bring those palms directly under those shoulders, but then see if we can walk them a foot towards the top of the mat. Here, we're shifting our hips downward, so we're becoming a diagonal but straight line through the spine. Side view looks like this. So again, your hands are slightly further forward, your hips are down, but your navel is strong towards your spine. Keeping those elbows tight to the ribs, we want to challenge ourselves to lower, nice and slow. You're feeling the strength through the upper body in front of the shoulders. That chest does not touch, it hovers. And then we press ourselves back to that diagonal but straight line. Here we again want to breathe into squeezing elbows towards the ribs, squeezing navel in towards the spine, yet pressing it out, corseting those ribs, and encouraging a nice strong abdominal wall. As we slowly lower, chest will hover, and then up we come. We can continue to practice just like this, which will find that heat or warmth through the upper body, as well as encourage us to maintain a strong connection to a tight core. If we're looking for advancement or more of a challenge, we can tuck into the toes and press our way to a plank-like position. Elbows staying tight to those ribs. Slowly is your challenge. Bring those chests to a hover. Press your way up. Whichever version is best serving for you or building the most heat, even though we're traveling slowly and with control, you're practicing for a few more rounds. Yoga push-ups. Let's try for 2 more, whether you're on those thighs, so roll to the tops of them with a nice diagonal straight line through the spine, or maybe you press your way up to your plank, you pick. One more time, breathing into the strength of those upper bodies. Hover the chest, press your way up, and if those thighs are hovering in your plank-like position, drop to your knees and exhale to press hips all the way towards your heels. Those bellies are resting on the lap, so we again focus on the spine, warming the thighs. If we need to, this is a good opportunity to roll out through those wrists. I know we're starting to build some heat and some strength in them, but often they are a sensitive area, so if we need to give some love to them now, let's take a moment to do so. When we're ready, we press our way back to our child pose. Inhale to round our weight up and forward, shoulders stack over wrists, hips are over knees. Tuck into those toes, pull the navel in strong, float the knees, and then float the hips. Inhale, we'll lift the heels, bend into the knees. We'll hop, walk, or step our way to the top of our mat. Here our hands connect to our shins and come on up to our flat back. As we soften, we find our forward fold. We'll sweep arms, sides of the room, up overhead, and connect them in towards the heart. One more time, we're hot glue gunning those thighs, big toes, and midline of the body together. Even squeeze into your glutes, so you're creating warmth, you're creating strength, and everything's hugging in nice and tightly. Inhale, we'll set palms overhead, and as we exhale, we'll lower to our twist on side 1. This could be where we're choosing to breathe, hold, and practice, where we really want to think about keeping those knees in alignment with each other, trying to set the thumbs with the center of our chest, looking up and over our top shoulder. If this is where we stay, this is where we close our eyes. We focus on stroking that nice warm fire through our navel area. Or if we're looking for advancement, we will instead turn the head down towards the ground. We'll maybe start to lift through both heels this time, seeing if our seats can come down and rest just on the tops of those heels. So I'm standing just on the balls of my feet. My palms can then come free of each other and start to walk their way off to the side of my mat. So you'll notice that my right hand is no longer even on my mat. It's about a foot off towards the ground, and that's okay. What you want to think about doing is separating your fingers nice and wide so you've got a good base of support through each palm. Your thumbs are pointing in towards each other and your fingers are pointing to the front of the room. From here, an inhale, we'll lift those hips even more. We'll maybe think about bending into the elbows as we set the fronts of the shoulders parallel to the floor. This could be where we stay. Maybe we come back, set those hips over those heels, and treat this kind of like another yoga push-up. So lift the weight, Bend those elbows and see how strong you feel through the chest and front of the shoulders. See how deep this twist feels through the body. Maybe return hips over those heels. But if you're starting to build confidence in the posture and you're feeling strong, the next time you lift your hips up and bend into your elbows, press into the palms of the hands. See if you can trust yourself to float one foot and then maybe the other. Taking a breath or two to press up into your side crow. Arm balances are a great posture to feel strong, to build confidence, but more importantly, find that heat and that warmth. So you hold as long as you wish. Channel your few breaths there. Maybe trying to see if you can hold the posture and close your eyes. That's challenge level, next level. So give yourself a few more breaths to practice and try. If you're almost there, sometimes I find grabbing a block and bringing it in front of my head to kind of pad any kind of landing between me and the floor just gives me a little extra confidence. I'll show you what that looks like. So again, my heels are lifted, my inner thighs are squeezing in towards each other, my hands are on either side, and my block, what I'm using it for is just my head. So my head comes down, maybe I need to press that a little more forward. And maybe just that third level of connection is enough for me to trust floating my second foot up. Options are yours, and once you've given yourself permission to play, come on back to center. When we're ready, we'll meet in our Utkatasana with a twist. From here, we'll unwind, bring those feet, send those hips up, maybe paddle one leg and then the other into a forward fold. Inhale, we slide to our flat back. Exhale, we soften, step the feet back, inch forward, bend into those elbows and lift the chest nice and tall. Let's keep our thighs connected to the mat so that once again we press hips back towards the heels and encourage our fire center to warm those thighs. Foreheads come towards the mat, and if we need to, we give a little extra love to our wrists as we've really called on the strength of them to practice our arm balance. Take as long as you need, reset those wrists, reset the breath, maybe really focus on that glowing warm fire in the navel area. And when we're ready, we round up, shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees, tuck into those toes. Hug the navel strong, float the knees first, float the hips second. Lift the heels, bend the knees, and come on up to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep those arms all the way up. Hands come together, hands come to heart. And once again, we're glue gunning, hot glue gunning, heat, warmth. Midline of the body together, even squeeze into those glutes to make sure you are strong through those lower limbs. Inhale, sweep on up. Exhale, sink into your twist, side two. Again, maybe this is where we breathe, hold, and practice. Work on deepening that twist, aligning those thumbs with the center of the chest as we look up and over our top shoulder. We can stay here. No pressure, no problem to move on. If it's available though, and we're feeling strong and confident, maybe we practiced on side one. I recommend you trying for the sake of symmetry in the body on side two. Lift both heels and set those hips down on top of them so you're resting or balancing on the balls of the feet. From here, your palms again shoot on out. It's about a foot or so in between them. Thumbs are pointing towards each other. Fingers are separated as wide as they can. All sets of fingers pointing to the front of the room. Here, let's practice our yoga push-up by lifting the hips, bending into the elbows, testing the strength of the shoulders and the chest, testing how easy it is for us to maintain our twist. So the important part is that your thigh is resting on your tricep rather than your elbow, and that's how you're going to build strength in the posture. So if you're having some difficulty and you're not quite sure why the arm balance is difficult, it could be because we need to get that twist a little deeper. So if you're just pressing your elbow into the thigh, see if you can squeeze or shimmy on down. So again, that thigh is finding tricep rather than elbow. Thumbs still pointing in towards each other. Maybe we're practicing that yoga push-up one more time. Or maybe we're starting to see if we can challenge ourselves and float one foot followed by the other. Breathing into our side crow. Or maybe we're still holding our Utkatasana with our twist. Again, the option is yours, but give yourself a few breaths and permission to play. You've built this power, you've built this strength, you've built this confidence. So maybe challenge yourself to try something new, but don't be afraid if what is best serving is to really focus on your breath and focus on building that fire in your belly. And wherever you are along the way, when you're ready, we will meet in our Utkatasana with our twist. Unwind, bring those feet, send those hips up, and maybe pedal one followed by the other. Coming into our flat back, we'll soften, step our way back to our planks, inch forward, bend into those elbows, lift into the chest. Thighs are still connected to the mat. We'll send hips back to heels, bring those bellies to warm the thighs. Foreheads towards the ground. Once again, if we need to give some love to those wrists, let's take the time to do so now, maybe rolling them in one direction followed by the other. If we have found the peak of our power this afternoon, stay where you are. Close those eyes. Think about that yellow light or glowing fire in the navel area. It shines a little brighter with each new breath. And then let each new exhale send that light and send that warmth all throughout your body. While you're here, see if you can physically start to feel warmer. If you are looking for a slight bit more of advancement, I will lead you through one more peak posture. And if you're following along, inhales will round you up. We tuck into the toes, we hug the navel tight, we float the knees first, followed by the hips. Lifting through both heels, bend into your knees and come on up to the top of your mat. Inhale, find your flat back. Exhale, soften, forward fold. As those arms come on up overhead, we will zip those thighs together, bring those hands in towards the heart, shrug our shoulders down away from the ears. Once again, arms come up, we want to find our twist on side one. Pressing, again, trying to set the tricep to the outside of the thigh rather than just the elbow. Lifting both heels, and when we're ready, we come back so that we are balancing on the balls of our feet. Our hands will again come to that same position, and we do want to come on up, bend into those elbows, maybe set into our side crow. For advancement, we slowly rotate, bringing our ear towards the ground, and seeing if we can find the strength to extend the legs upwards towards the ceiling, coming through to our fallen angel or our peak twist or power pose this afternoon. To give you a side view, my ear inside of my head is towards the ground. I'm in a nice deep twist, and I'm finding warmth and strength through my upper body as well as squeezing those navels nice and strong, balancing into my twisted posture. Coming out of it as gracefully as possible. When you're ready, we'll return those hands to center, send those hips up, and maybe paddle one foot followed by the other. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back to plank, inching forward, bending through the elbows, lifting the chest nice and tall. Thighs are connected to the mat, so again, my belly can start to warm my thighs as I push back to my child's pose. Roll out through my wrists if I need to, knowing that I'm calling on the strength of them one more time if I am proceeding to practice that peak pose on the other side. Maybe I'm still here from the last time, still focused on my breath, focused on glowing that fire brighter and sending more and more warmth through my body. Regardless of where I am, the most important part is my breath and this warmth that we've cultivated in our practice. If we are practicing that posture on side two, our inhale will round us up, shoulders will stack over wrists, hips will stack over heels. Tuck into those toes and hug that navel in strong. Float the knees first, float the hips second. Lift to the heels, work your way to the top of your mat. Sliding to your flat back. Soften, forward fold. Sweep those arms up overhead. Hug them in towards the heart as you zip the midline of the body nice and tight. Squeeze you in your glutes to make sure your inner thighs are active. We again think about this idea of warmth all through the body. As arms come up, we'll find our twist, side two. And when you're ready, we really want to try to connect the outside of the thigh to the tricep rather than the elbow. So once we tighten up that twist and are ready to move on, we lift the heels, resting the hips on top of them as we stay supported and balanced on the balls of our feet. Our hands will come on out to the other side, making sure we're still nuzzle, outer thigh, into the tricep. Thumbs pointing towards each other, fingers pointing to the front of the room, but separating nice and wide. A lift through the hips, a bend through the elbows. We'll maybe flow one leg, followed by the other, coming to our side crow, at which point we want to twist or continue that spiral by setting ear towards the ground and lengthening legs on upwards. Again, giving you a side view of what's going on. Wrong side view, sorry. Let's try this way. Let's think about this. What's on this side? And wherever we are along the way, let's see if we can slowly, gradually come out of posture. Bring those feet, send those hips up, maybe find that paddling left to right. Sliding into a flat back. Softening, forward fold, stepping your way back to your plank, inching forward, bending into elbows, shining those chests forward, pressing those bellies towards the mat, but hugging those navels in towards the spine. Take a moment to once again welcome bellies towards those laps, or maybe we've been here the whole time. Taking a few breaths in our nice warming child's pose. Whether we've been here focused on our breath and our fire center for a while, or whether we've just arrived, let's take another inhale. Reach those fingers nice and long for the front of the room. Take an exhale to visualize that yellow fire burning even brighter, warming even more of the body. With our next inhale, rounding our weight up and forward. As those shoulders arrive over those wrists, we'll sweep our legs in the same direction so hips can come behind us, legs can come out front. Pushing our way a little more front and center on the mat. Knees are bent, heels are strong to the floor, toes are up towards the ceiling. Sweeping arms overhead with our inhale, let's collect all but our index fingers together. Shrug those shoulders away from the ears. Maybe grow a little taller with our inhale. Exhale, see if we can connect each section of our spine nice and flat to the floor. Bending the knees, we'll welcome them towards the chest. Let's hug our hands around those shins and give ourselves a nice tight squeeze. We are again thinking about that fire center or that navel area. Let's hug the navel in to encourage strength through the abdominal wall. Let's see if we can then squeeze those knees even closer to the body. Hug ourselves in nice and tight and really focus on the sensation of warmth and support. As we continue to hug ourselves tightly, if it feels good, maybe we start to find a sway side to side or back and forth, perhaps in a little circle. If we are moving in a circle for the sake of symmetry in the body, let's take a moment to reset and circle in the opposite direction now. Returning to center, we'll squeeze a little tighter. Close those eyes if we haven't already. Once again, thinking about this sensation of warmth. Congratulate your body on what it's been able to accomplish. See if you can send the extra little bit of warmth all the way to the tips of those toes. As you inhale, squeeze even tighter. And as you exhale, release and stretch those legs all the way to the top of your mat. We'll allow those feet to slide towards the outside edges and relax those toes in either direction. From here, let's rest our hands on top of our belly. And I know that this does create a little bit of internal rotation through our shoulders, but we want to do our best to maybe slide those shoulders down away from the ears and relax as much as we can through the upper body. I do want you to keep your hands on your belly as this has been our focus for our whole practice. Closing into those eyes. How about closing those eyes down, hands resting nice and heavy on the belly. We want to start to really draw our awareness to that navel area. Maybe let those hands sink an extra bit of heavy into the belly. And maybe start to press the belly up and into the hands. This again creates that almost corseting nature of the ribs, strength or tightness in the fire center. And the idea is not to create tension, but rather to create warmth or draw our awareness to all the strength we've harnessed in our practice. We want to take this strength with us wherever we go from here, whatever it is we do. Maybe for one more breath, we want to press that navel in towards the spine, yet away at the same time. Drawing those hands a little heavier towards the belly resists and creates that much more strength. Our awareness again is with this warmth, with this power, with this strength. We want to again think about taking this with us wherever we go from here, whatever it is we do. Thinking one more time about a nice, bright, glowing yellow fire. Let's inhale to send it into the palms. Let's exhale to float those hands to the sides of the body, turning the palms up towards the ceiling, still resting with warmth within them. We soften through the glutes. We close the eyes if we haven't already. We release tension from the face and from the jaw. The tongue comes free from the roof of the mouth. We try to find a place in the back of the mind where we're not at all worried of anything that's already happened. We're not at all anticipating anything that's to come. We try to source softness from the tops of the heads all the way to the tips of the toes. But as we rest softly, we also rest warmly, letting the remnants of the strength and the power of our practice keep us warm through our Shavasana. As we start to breathe more and more into this soft warm, we let ourselves float more and more away from the outside world. We allow ourselves to fill our brains and our bodies with this strength, this sense of strength and of power. And we stay here for as long as we need to, knowing that this was the whole point of our practice, to be able to rest with our breath, rest with our warmth, and cultivate strength and power to take with us as we move forward. I will leave you here with your breath, with your warmth, as I again encourage you to stay as long as you possibly need. Take your time, find your rest, and enjoy your well-deserved Shavasana. Sending you warmth, sending you strength, sending you light. Namaste.